Hey, hi. I'm Mr. Bush's pet meerkat. My name is Radical, because we're doing radicals today. So, enjoy.
Okay, the directions say simplify. So all we're trying to do is take this and make it as simple as possible. So since this thing in the parentheses is to the 1/3 power, everything in the parentheses goes to the 1/3 power. Okay, so a to the 1/3 power. Remember, when you have a power of a power, you multiply the power. So it's a to the 3/3, which is the number 1, right? So this is just a. Now the 64 to the 1/3, I'm going to show you that it's simple to get that answer. Because if you take 64 to the 1/3, you get the number 4. And that's what the answer is. The answer is 4a. However, 64 to the 1/3, you know that that is the 3rd root of 64. And 64, if we find the prime factorization, actually, you can divide it by 2 a lot of times. But anyway, that's 4 times 16. And 16 is 4 times 4. So 64 is 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4. Right? Or if we divided this even further, right? It's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's what 64 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2's. Right? It's the 3rd root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 6 of them. Since that's the 3rd root, you need 3 of the same numbers to come out. You need 3 of the same numbers for 1 2 to come out. And these 3 2's also take 1 2 out of the radical. And you know that 2 times 2 is 4. Or if you have 4 times 4 times 4, the 3rd root of that, you need 3 of these 4's for 1 4 to come out. And there it is. Anyway, just different ways to think about it. This is the 1/2 power, which is not the 3rd root, it's the square root. So this is 81 to the 1/2 times p to the 6 times 1/2 is 6/2. That's p to the 3rd, right? 81 to the 1/2, you know, we can take our calculator to the 0.5 power, or 81 to the 1/2 power. Doesn't matter, it's 9, because the 1/2 power means the square root. And the square root of 81 is 9. Okay? But let me break it down a little bit further. It'll help you do some of the other problems when we're simplifying. 81 prime factorization is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, right? So this is the 2nd root of 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And when it's the 2nd root, you need 2 3's multiplied together for 1 3 to come out of the radical. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? Again, 625 to the 1/4 power times k to the 4 times 1/4 is 4/4. So k, we know, is k to the 1st power is going to be the answer. Oh. Okay. 625, you know, that's a tricky one to separate. I can see that if it were $6.25, you know, you could make that into quarters, right? 25 quarters. But anyway, 625 divided by 25 is 25. Yeah, 25 quarters. So is that really true? 25 times 25? Yeah, 625. 25 times 25. And 25 is 5 times 5. 25 is 5 times, oops, that's a 5 times 5. So this is the fourth root of 625. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And there are 4 5s multiplied together. So you can take 1 5 out. So the answer to this one is 5K. We don't need that anymore. Actually, I'll just erase it. Hello. There we go. Okay, let's try number 10. This one's a little different because there's a power and a root. Typically, if you have a number that you want to take to a root, it's the second root because the bottom is the root, the top is the power. You do the root first, like the square root of 81, hopefully you know is 9. And 9 to the third power, I don't know what that is. That's a big number. 9 to the third power is 729. And then a to the sixth, 6 times 2/3 is 18 halves, which is a to the 9th. Right, so the square root of 8. Now this is going to get a little trickier because square root of 8 is not an actual number. So when you're simplifying this, find the prime factorization of 8, and that's 2 times 2 times 2. And then m squared is m times m. And since it's the second root, we need 2, the same thing multiplied together, to take 1 out of the radical. So 2m comes out, and this 2 is left inside the radical. So the answer, the square root of 8m squared is 2m squared of 2. Okay? Again, now we can separate this, right? And just stretch everything out. If you find the prime factorization of 32, that's 16 times 2, and 16 is 2 times 8, and 8 is 2 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s. 3 n's. And for every 2 that are the same, 1 comes out. So there's a 2 times 2 times n outside, and what's left in the radical is just 2n. And of course 2 times 2 is 4. Now, some people can see this, and if you can find all the perfect squares that are factors of 32, you can do this a little quicker. The square root of 16 is 4, and there's 1 2 left. The biggest even power of n to the third is n squared, right? And then there's 1 n left. So you could think of it like this. 16 times 2 times n squared times n. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of n squared is n, with a 2n left over. Okay. 192 r squared third root. I know r squared is r times r. 192, I don't know. I can see it's even, so I'm going to divide it by 2. Oops. Yeah, sorry, I was doing some work without you being able to see. 192 divided by 2 6 divided by 2. 48. Well, and that's 6 times 8, right? So 192 divided by 16, 12. Wow. 1. Okay. So 192 divided by 16 is 12. That's a little easier. Right, 16 I know is 4 times 4, and 12 is 4 times 3. Okay, do you see that there's 1, 2, 3 4s and 1 3? I only need 3 of the same number. So I'm going to put those in just like that. And remember, when it's the third root, you need 3 of the same thing to take one out. So this simplified is 4 times the third root of 3r squared. Since there's only 2 r's, you can't take any out. Okay, now I could have done it further. I could have gone 4 is 2 times 2, and this 4 is 2 times 2, and this 4 is 2 times 2, and there's a 3 left over. So if I stretched out 192, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 1, 3, and there are 2 r's. And then for every 3 that are the same, 1 comes out. For every 3 that are the same, 1 comes out. And the stuff left in is 3r squared. So anyway, this is the answer. Okay, hopefully this is making sense. And maybe I didn't explain it well with the directions, but when we go over these, hopefully it's helping you understand it. 18, is 9 times 2, and 9 is 3 times 3. So if we stretch this out, it's 3 times 3 times 2 times x. And since it's a second root, you only need 2 to take 1 out. There's the last answer. Hopefully that made sense. And you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.